In a rare accident, a cargo plane veers off the airport's runway and hits a ground patrol car, killing 2 ground staff. All officials involved in the government water procurement saga will face probe, no matter of rank or employment status. And we will take a look at how Hong Kong can borrow from Xi'an's experience in developing more engaging tourism. Good evening, you're watching Cable News. I'm Evan Bai. A cargo plane has crashed into the sea after skidding off a runway at the airport, striking a security vehicle and killing 2 ground staff. Authorities confirmed that weather and runway conditions were safe at the time, and the search for the aircraft's black boxes is underway. Jeremy Zhu has more.
The incident occurred off the north runway at 3:53 a.m. involving cargo flight EK9788 from Dubai. After landing, the Boeing 747-400 veered left during taxiing and entered the water. The 2 deceased staff members had reportedly just completed a routine patrol and were inside their vehicle on a standby area outside the runway when it was struck into the water and sank. A 30-year-old staff was confirmed dead at the scene, while the 41-year-old driver was rescued but later succumbed to his injuries in hospital. They had served at the airport for 7 and 12 years respectively. The 4 crew members on the plane were rescued and received treatment. Authorities have not ruled out a future criminal investigation. Speaking to the press, Wesley Yong, Chief Air Traffic Controller of the Civil Aviation Department, said airport staff gave the plane correct instructions and did not receive any requests for assistance. Attempts to call the pilot via radio went unanswered, he added. Meanwhile, Stephen Yu, Executive Director of Airport Operations, said the vehicle that was hit was absolutely not near the runway and was outside the fence patrolling on a 4-kilometer-long coastline to ensure airport safety, adding that this has been the practice since 1998. The north runway remains closed, but authorities said flight operations are unaffected. The aircraft belonged to Emirates but was operated under a wet lease by Istanbul-headquartered Air Act. It was not carrying any cargo at the time of the incident. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
A disciplinary probe into the government's drinking water contract saga will begin after auditors' review flagged human errors in the incident. To improve procurement procedures, the government proposed quick fixes, including anti-fraud checks and work culture renewal. Jimmy Lee reports.
Following 2 months of review, Financial Services Secretary Christopher Ho, who leads the corresponding task force, outlined the remedies. They include revising procurement rules to clear the way for third-party verification of documents submitted by bidders and contractors and allow the government to conduct site visits. The updated guidelines empower the government to terminate contracts immediately if contractors are found to have provided false information. Among other measures are establishing a digital database for internal sharing of procurement information and conduct anti-fraud staff training. The government also called for a culture of ownership at work to ensure procurement staff are proactive and prudent.
So what we are trying to do is to ensure, first of all, our colleagues is being empowered with the right tools and means to enhance their due diligence work. At the same time, in terms of mindset, they have the ability and also have the willingness to exercise those rights and powers.
A disciplinary investigation into human errors among civil servants will be conducted by Alice Lau, one of the highest-ranking administrative officers, aimed to be complete by year-end. The scope will include around 10 officials involved. There were concerns whether the probe will include retired procurement chief Carson Chan, who had apologized for awarding a $52.9 million contract to a supplier that was later accused of fraud. Ho stressed that they will look into all ranks, regardless of employment status. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
With the operation of the International Organization for Mediation commencing, Chief Executive John Lee believed that the intergovernmental legal body will become a trustworthy institution for resolving international disputes.
2, 1.
John Lee, Vice Foreign Minister Hua Chunying, along with representatives from multiple member countries, including Kenya, Nicaragua, Congo, and Pakistan, attended the inauguration ceremony for IOMED.
Hong Kong builds bridges. We take pride in being a super connector and super value adder, and we are honored to serve as the organization's home. I'm confident that under the joint dedication of all contracting states and the Secretary General's stewardship, the International Organization for Mediation will rise as a respected and trusted body for resolving disputes through mutual respect and understanding.
The mediation body's first Secretary General, Teresa Jane, who is also the city's former Justice Secretary, said the opening of IOMED is a historic milestone in the field of international dispute resolution.
IOMED will complement the services of other international dispute resolution bodies and aims to provide mediation as a viable, efficient, and effective option for disputants in state-to-state disputes, international investment disputes, and international commercial disputes.
The city of Xi'an blends in depth its cultural heritage with tourism offerings to create special immersive experiences, which has proven hugely successful in drawing young crowds. Hong Kong's Travel Industry Council sees plenty of ideas to borrow. Shiro Yun has taken a look in Xi'an, Shanxi.
Place a bowl of wine above your head, make a wish, chuck it down, then smash it to the ground with a satisfying crash. For just 5 Chinese yuan, you can experience Xi'an's Yongxing Fang's tradition of smashing the bowl of wine. It symbolizes ditching your worries and smashing in good fortune. Since opening in 2014, it has drawn over 8 million visitors. Yongxing Fang was once the home of Wei Zheng, the legendary advisor to Emperor Taizong of the Tang Dynasty. Fast forward 1,400 years, it is now China's first intangible cultural heritage food street. Bringing together 177 specialty dishes from 11 Shanxi cities, it raked in a revenue of 250 million yuan last year.
我们尽量去还原它那个消费的场。
Executive Deputy General Manager of Yongxing Fang Cultural Development Geng Wei said they recreated the exact scenes where people enjoyed these foods back in the day. Along with heritage performances like Huayin Old Opera and Shanbei storytelling, tourists do not just taste the flavors, they soak in the culture as well, he said. Want to dive deeper into the Tang Dynasty glory? Head to the Da Tang Ever-Bright City. With his faux Tang architecture glowing under dazzling lights, this pedestrian street welcomed 75 million visitors just last year. Handful rentals are especially popular with young visitors who wear flowing ancient robes to stroll the streets and snap photos with friends. Wide sleeve designs with embroidery patterns, these are among the top picks in the costume rental shops. Even Tommy Tam, leading the Travel Industry Council delegation, and tourism sector lawmaker Perry Yu jumped in, joining in the intangible cultural heritage performance Dongtang strains of drum beats music in traditional Chinese costumes. Tam said Xi'an has many spots Hong Kong can learn from, calling for similar inspirations.
Firstly, we have to encourage more nightlife. I mean, nightlife is such as the dining, such as busking, and we will have to let them know Hong Kong is so sophisticated, and they are safe to travel around in Hong Kong, in Central, even in new territories. You are trying to showcase them the characteristics of the food and different culture in 18 different districts.
Tam said the council will urge the SAR government for more attractions, flexible policies, and room for industry creativity. Reporting from Xi'an, Shanxi, Cheryl Yun, Cable News.
The Israeli military said it will resume enforcement of the ceasefire in Gaza after again launching airstrikes that killed at least 44 people in response to what it claimed was a violation of the deal by Hamas. Jeremy Zhu reports.
The strikes began in southern Gaza after the Israeli military accused Hamas of firing an anti-tank missile and gunfire toward Israeli troops in Rafah, killing 2 soldiers. The airstrikes targeted tunnels, military targets, as well as weapon depots and firing positions. Israel has simultaneously paused the delivery of humanitarian aid into Gaza. Dozens of wounded were rushed to Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis. Those killed include military commanders along with civilians. Following the airstrikes, Israel announced it would resume adherence to the ceasefire agreement, emphasizing it would continue to honor the deal but would respond decisively to any violations by Hamas. In response, Hamas's military wing Al-Qassam brigades denied knowledge of any clashes in the Rafah area. It stressed it was complying with the truce and warned that Israeli violations could lead to a collapse of the negotiations. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump emphasized that the ceasefire agreement remains in effect. He said he believed the Hamas leadership was not involved in the attack on the Israeli troops.
We want to make sure that it's going to be very peaceful with Hamas, and as you know, they've been quite rambunctious. They've been doing some shooting, and we think maybe the leadership isn't involved in that. Some rebels within, but either way, it's going to be handled properly.
In a separate interview with Fox News, Trump has stated that he would not set a timetable for Hamas to disarm. However, he warned that if Hamas fails to act, the U.S. and its proxies will. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
Now let's take a look at the stock market. The Hang Seng Index ended the day up 611 points. Top active stocks of the day: Alibaba was up $7.50. Tencent was up $19.50. Xiaomi was up $1.18. SMIC was up $2.70. The city's latest unemployment rate has risen to 3.9%, its highest level in 3 years. The jobless rate for July to September was higher than expected, with the number of unemployed increased by around 4,600, reaching approximately 155,600, whereas the underemployment rate held steady at 1.6%. By sector, the social work activities and construction sectors saw more significant increases in unemployment. Secretary for Labor and Welfare Chris Sun attributed the rise to sector-specific challenges and increased external uncertainties, pledging continued government monitoring and employment support. On to the weather now. The strong wind signal number 3 is now in force and is expected to remain at least until tomorrow afternoon, with tropical storm Fengshen set to pass south of the city. Yet the chance of issuing higher warning signals is relatively low unless Fengshen takes a path closer or intensifies significantly. Under the combined effects of the northeast monsoon and Fengshen, winds will be generally intensified tonight and tomorrow. Rain will be frequent at times, with temperatures in the urban areas dropping to around 19 degrees Celsius tomorrow night. The observatory predicts that Fengshen will start to turn southwestwards and weaken tomorrow. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our news tonight. I'm Evelyn Bai. Thanks for watching and good night.